for the AP test? Okay. I got a z-score of negative 1.37. You guys get the same thing? All right, now you have to imagine that that's one of the tails. You're going to multiply by 2 to find the p-value. So first we need to look it up. Negative 1.37. Find it on your chart. Did you guys get 0.0853? I'm going to multiply by 2 because it's a two-tailed test. If it was a one-tailed test, I would just keep it. Which is 0.1706. Now, I know it is obnoxious that a p-value is in a question that also has a p over here and that they are the exact same variable and that there's no difference between them as far as how they look. It's very frustrating, but it's also like exactly what they do in statistics, and I don't want to mislead you by calling it something else. I would love to call it a different variable because I think it'd make more sense, but that's not what you're going to see on the AP test, so I'm not going to change it. All right, now imagine it. Can you visualize your rejection regions? If this is 10% together, right? Where would my p-value be if it was 17%? Would it be hitting in the null? Or would it be hitting further out in the rejection regions? 17%. If you think about splitting that in half, 2 halves, would they be further into the null? Yeah. They would be. They'd be hitting over here. So if p is greater than alpha, you accept the null. That's always true. If p is greater than alpha, accept the null. That's probably an important thing to write. If p is less than alpha, you reject the null. Your p value, that is. Okay, so in this case, I'm also going to accept the claim. I'm not going to make you write the sentence this time, yada, yada, yada. Now, actually doing p-values with your calculator is probably the fastest way to do any kind of problem like this. On your project, your hypothesis test project, I'm going to let you decide if you'd prefer to do p-values or rejection regions. I'll just let you figure it out. A research center claims that 30% of U.S. adults have not purchased a certain brand because they found the advertisements distasteful. You decide to test this claim and ask a random sample of 250 U.S. adults whether they have purchased a certain brand because they found the advertisements distasteful. Okay, now this is confusing. Because what they asked is they said, have you not purchased a certain brand because you don't like the advertisements? And they said yes, if that was not true, right? So they're claiming that 30% is the truth. Do you understand that? So the claim is still that it's equals to 0.3 and not that it's not equal to. So the claim's up here still. Uh, 250 times 30% is definitely higher than 5. We're good there. All right. I'm not even going to draw a picture this time because p-values really don't require it. Alpha equals 0.1. And now I've got to find out what my p-value is and compare it. So let's grab the calculator. Hit stat, tests. How's my speed? Am I going way too fast? 1 proportion z-tests. P sub O is actually still 0.3, like it was last time. It looks like 90 replied yes out of 250. What should I hit for this one? For the type of test? Not equal to, I would suggest draw, but if you don't want to do a draw, you can always do a calculate. Anybody getting like a whole bunch of weird things on this screen too? Besides the bell curve, they have like lines going through it and stuff. That will happen if you had your y equals on and still had, like, other things in the y equals that you were graphing before that. This will tell you your z value and also your p value. 0.0384 is the one we care about this time. In this case, p is less than alpha. So what do we do? Reject. Here, you want me to write this? If p is less than alpha, reject the null. Do something to reference on your sheet. So I reject the null. And in this case, reject the claim that yada, yada, yada. All right, your final assignment from this chapter, believe it or not, I'm considering your project, your assessment for this chapter. We're not going to do a review. We're not going to do anything else for this chapter. We're just going to move on after the project. Do you feel like you've gotten enough practice of this stuff? Okay. You have to do I'm actually going to cut your assignment down. You can take out that 3 through 6. I want you to do number 9 using rejection regions in a table, 11 rejection regions in your calculator, 13 p-values in a table, and 15 p-values in your calculator. Which method do you have to do on your project? Any of them, as long as you show your work. And if you're using a calculator, then you need to say, I used my calculator, and this is what I typed in. Okay? All right. When do you want this due? Huh. Well, you want to come back? I feel like that sounds worse than anything else. Got it, just wouldn't do it. Would you like to turn it in tomorrow and make sure you have the math right before you do your projects, or would you like to have it due Monday after the projects? It's 4 problems. What'd you say? Tomorrow. All right, we're doing it for tomorrow. So for tomorrow, there's 4 problems due, and then remember, tomorrow's a work day on the project. Does anybody want to leave my room right now to go talk to people? Okay.